享一下我的感悟。
Today I went to a blind date and I want to share my reflections with you. I think that now, if a woman is over 30 and goes to a blind date, the person they will be introduced to is either a man who has already been married with children, or a man over 40 years old. It doesn't matter what your education is, if you have a house, or how much you earn per year, or your value. If you're older, you're worth no more than a young, beautiful 20-year-old waitress. Now I understand clearly. Today, men don't choose a wife based on education or talent. A man doesn't see the difference between a woman with a master's degree and one with only primary education. What he values most is a woman's appearance, body, and age. Sometimes it's really hard to accept. I ended up wasting my time. You wouldn't believe it, but when I was in my 20s, I was also one of those who picked others with my eyes closed. Anyway, I won't talk about it anymore.
Someone asked me, at over 30 years old and unmarried, do you regret it? Yes, I regret it, deeply, to the point of slapping my thigh out of remorse. Because of my decision not to settle for just anyone, at over 30, I ended up without a man. I can't get married, I can't take care of a husband, and I can't have children for him. I can't take care of his parents, I can't wash his clothes, socks, or underwear. I can't cook for him or clean the house for him. For someone who loves taking care of a man, I live every day in regret, completely frustrated and filled with remorse. Every day, when I open my eyes, I beg the heavens, please, give me a man. And before I sleep, I plead, oh, heavens, when will I be able to marry? Give me a chance, let me work hard for a family, for a man, let me be like an ox or a horse for him. Come on, keep pushing.
人真的可以一辈子不结婚吗？
Can we really live our whole lives without getting married? I'm 37 years old and to this day I've never been married. When I was young, I had a good figure, my appearance was decent, and being an only child, I grew up with the idea that I should start a family. Today, I want to tell the truth to those of you who think living without marriage is the key to freedom. I want you to listen closely to what I'm about to say. I had a good life. A good job, leadership in what I did, I seemed to have it all under control. But around me, marriages were falling apart. And the more I saw couples separating, the more appealing the idea of never getting married became. Gradually, I started to think that the freedom of not having responsibilities would free me from all the problems. When my family pressured me to marry, I just ignored them. It was my life, my choices. But everything changed. A few years ago, I lost both of my parents. And at that moment, freedom turned into an unbearable burden. They left without seeing me get married, without seeing their grandchildren. And I, who thought being alone was the best path, now found myself truly alone. And here I am, 37 years old, looking at my life and asking myself, was this the right choice? When I first came to Beijing, loneliness seemed like just a phase. A phase I chose. Now I see it was more than that. The loneliness I thought was a symbol of freedom has turned into a terrifying abyss. The feeling of being alone with no one to take care of me has consumed me. The truth is, the reason I felt so independent wasn't because of strength, but because I had the support of my parents. They were my foundation. Now that they are gone, I'm wondering how I will face what's coming. And what really scares me isn't the money for retirement that's somehow secured. What truly terrifies me is what will happen when my body starts to fail. When I can no longer get out of bed or make decisions on my own. What will I do when it's too late to take care of myself? I hear young people say, you don't need anyone, you can do whatever you want, spend your money however you want. They have no idea what they're talking about. They don't know what it's like to be truly alone. The loneliness of old age is something no one understands until they live it. When my parents passed away, I went through a serious illness and I was there alone, unable to do anything. Alone. And loneliness has never been as cruel as it was in that moment. Now, I deeply regret not listening to my parents, believing that freedom was more important than the company of those we love. You who think living alone is a wise choice, think again. The real loneliness, the one that comes with aging and the absence of children and family, is something no one wants to experience. Don't wait until it's too late. And what about the suitors who came into my life? When I was surrounded by men who showed interest, none of them seemed good enough. Sometimes it only took a small detail for me to discard them, a mole I didn't like, a receding hairline I found undesirable, or even their height. I wanted someone perfect with the best genes because if I were to get married, I wanted to make sure my child wouldn't be ugly. I truly believed I deserved the best, that perfection would be the key to a happy life. But the truth is, this search for the perfect man pushed me even further from reality. Today, I see that all the time I spent searching for something ideal didn't bring me anything but loneliness. And now I ask myself, what was the point of searching for perfection if the price was the absence of a life partner and the loss of the possibility of having a family?
I am almost 40 now, and I deeply regret not having dedicated myself to finding a husband. I spent 10 years working insanely, and I didn't even want to date. Now, I realize that, to this day, my emotional life is completely blank. When I was 38, my father passed away. Because I took care of him and stayed with him, I had 6 months without work. Gradually, my work decreased, and suddenly I didn't feel that panic anymore. My father has been gone for 2 years, and the loneliness has only increased. When I have a week off, I buy a plane ticket and go back to my home in Guangdong to stay with my family. My sister-in-law always seems very confused, maybe thinking I went through something really tough and need to return to heal. She doesn't dare ask, but every day she makes a huge amount of delicious food to try to soothe my wounded heart. Then, my nephew says, "Aunt, come play with me." That's when I realized, my God, those were the happiest moments of our lives. It was at that moment that I understood, it's not that my family needs me more, it's that my entire motivation to live is because I need them. Only now, almost 40, do I understand this. I wanted a home, I wanted family life, a family atmosphere, and I also wanted a child, but I don't know if it's still possible. It's not that I don't believe in love or marriage, it's just that I'm so desperate for it that sometimes I think a person could live completely for themselves.
我今年43岁。
I am 43 years old this year and I have never been married. When I was younger, my figure was balanced. My appearance was also decent. And I was the only child in my family. I want to share my personal experience to give advice to those who never want to get married. If you are single now, you must watch this video until the end. I am 43 years old. When I was younger, I had a good job. I was a small leader in the company. And my conditions were pretty good. Around me, some people got married. But many of them got divorced. And even when they talk about marriage, they are full of fear. So, since then, I decided I would prefer to stay alone. Marriage is hard. And it could free me from many life troubles. My family, from the time I was 20 to 30 years old, always urged me to get married. Especially during holidays. But because of my strong personality, at first, I gave excuses about being young. Later, every time they pressured me, I responded strongly. Eventually, I reached the point where I ignored them. And I even avoided going home. After that, they stopped pressuring me. A few years ago, my parents passed away. And during their lifetime, they never saw their beloved daughter get married. Nor did they see her find a better match. They left in peace. And since then, I have been alone. Over time, I started feeling lost. And began to reflect deeply. Was it right or wrong to remain unmarried all these years? When I was young, I was very independent. Also very ambitious. I never relied on anyone. I remember when I came to Guangzhou alone. I felt lonely. But it was just a temporary boredom. Something boring but short-lived. But now, this loneliness scares me. Because, no matter what happens, I only have myself. Now I understand that the confidence not to marry and not to have children wasn't because of my independence and strength, but because I had the support of my parents. When I was young, I had freedom. But as I age, I'm starting to pay for the ignorance of youth. Either you have freedom, or you have loneliness. After all, you can't have both at the same time. That only happens in TV dramas. I'm not lacking money for retirement. I have savings. I also have social insurance. But what scares me the most is, if something happens to me. Now, I hear many young people say, how great it is to be alone. How free. Do whatever you want. Earn your own money and spend it however you like. I really want to say, you are so naive. I am someone who has been through this. And when you reach this age, without children, without a partner, living alone, it is a very painful thing. After my parents passed away, I became very ill, lying in bed, unable to do anything. Even signing the surgery form, I needed a friend to help. But they also have their own family. Later, I hired a caregiver. But many things cannot be solved by hiring a caregiver. I'm not that old. I still have some health problems. I can take care of myself. But I really don't want to imagine the day when I grow old. Unable to move. Unable to get out of bed. Unable to go to the hospital. Unable to sign papers. What should I do? What scares me even more is, if one day I grow old and get Alzheimer's, what will I do? I even thought about going to a nursing home, because I have retirement funds. If my health were better, I could live until I'm 75 or 80. But entering a nursing home would just be waiting for the end. I really don't want to spend my entire life there. Now, living alone at home, I'm really scared. There's no one to talk to. I adopted a dog. He is my only company, but he's older than I am. I can't imagine the day when he will also leave me. Here, I sincerely advise those young people who don't want to get married. Either have children or have a partner. Never be without both. Never think that money can solve everything. When you grow old, you will understand. I really regret not spending more time with my parents, not cherishing the time with them. We should cherish the moments with our parents. For those who are being pressured to get married, don't argue with your parents like I did. Don't avoid going home. Because parents are the people who love us the most in this world. And one day, you will deeply regret the impulsiveness of your youth. And ask yourself why you didn't listen to your parents.
Do you know when women usually start regretting? It's when our standards finally start becoming more realistic. I'm 47 years old. A lot of people might think at 47 she still calls herself a girl? Why not just call herself a woman? But if I don't call myself that, what should I call myself, right? I'm 1.60 m tall, I have a bachelor's degree, and I earn about 150,000 yuan a year. When I was younger, I was pretty and came from a good family with educated public servant parents. Right after I graduated from university, many men courted me, and I started dating a guy. This boyfriend had great qualities, but he wasn't very educated. Because of that, my parents insisted that we break up, and the relationship ended. Even after 3 years together and a strong emotional bond. After the breakup, I didn't date anyone for 3 to 5 years. During that time, I let the years pass, and before I knew it, I was in my 30s. That's when my parents began to worry. Although good men still came around, I couldn't bring myself to like anyone. I found faults in everyone, either their profile wasn't good or their family wasn't ideal. After many attempts, none of the relationships progressed. By the time I was 35, my parents were really desperate and started introducing me to divorced men. I was anxious too and confronted my parents. Before, you didn't let me be with a good guy. Now you want me to marry someone who has been married before. The older I got, the more anxious they became, but I didn't listen. Gradually, I got used to being single. Seeing couples fight every few days made me think, maybe it's better to live alone forever. In reality, when a marriage is happy, people don't usually talk about it. They only mention it when there are problems or unhappiness. Since I had good financial standing, I decided to travel, do yoga, and go shopping. For a while I thought this life was enough. But in the past few years my parents started getting sick. My mother passed away and only my father was left. That's when I really felt the crisis. Before she passed, my mother told me, "I never got to see you get married." Now my father talks to me every day saying, "When I'm gone, you'll be alone in this world. It will be very lonely." He keeps insisting that I find someone. Finally, I changed my perspective and thought, now my standards aren't so high anymore. I just want someone who's over 1.70 m tall. It doesn't matter if he only has a technical diploma. I don't require him to have a house, a car, or savings. As long as he can support himself, I'm satisfied. I just want someone to be with when I grow old and take care of me if I get sick. Today, I admit that I regret it. If, when I was younger, I had accepted a man with these standards, I would have found plenty. Now, I realize that my confidence came from my parents. When they passed away, that confidence disappeared. As I've gotten older and my health has declined, I realized how much I long for a companion, someone to talk to. So girls, when we're young, we have so many opportunities. We really need to take advantage of them. Don't let yourselves get left behind. Even if you have to relax your standards a bit, right?
In theory, the older a person gets, the more maturity and wisdom come with age. However, even after sharing several videos on this topic, I still can't understand why some older women, especially in China, remain so focused on wealth and luxury. In today's video, we showed women who finally woke up, but unfortunately, it was too late. I don't believe they will end up alone for the rest of their lives, but sadly, they haven't found the man they dreamed of in their youth. Now they'll have to settle for the consolation prize. There is a kind of rule among successful Chinese men that says, never choose an older woman to marry. Let me explain the reasons from 3 perspectives: animal instincts, social attributes, and psychological factors. First, the instinctive reaction of animal attributes. From an instinctual perspective, men by nature tend to choose partners with greater reproductive capacity, which is usually associated with younger women. Older women, although they have more life experience and sexual experience, often generate resistance in many men. This is due to the fetish for virginity and purity, something many men don't talk about but actually exist. For some men, a woman's sexual experience may suggest that her reproductive capacity has already been affected. Of course, this is not a scientific fact, but it is a stereotype widely spread. Many men subconsciously prefer women with less sexual experience because it makes them feel that the marriage will be purer and more stable in the future. Second, social attributes. As women age, they tend to value more material and practical aspects when choosing a partner due to life experiences and economic pressures. Many older women, when choosing a partner, prioritize financial status over feelings, which makes the relationship more pragmatic. For men, this focus on material aspects creates insecurity because they fear that the marriage will be based on financial interests. When facing difficulties, if the partner is more focused on material interests than emotional ones, they feel isolated. Older women, when dealing with problems, tend to weigh the pros and cons instead of sharing difficulties with their partner. This pragmatic approach makes men feel a lack of emotional security in the relationship. Third, psychological factors. In comparison, younger women tend to maintain more of an illusion of love and put more emotion into marriage. When men are with younger women, they feel more protective, which creates a more harmonious emotional dynamic in the marriage. On the other hand, the realistic mindset and independence of older women may make it difficult for some men to feel the same emotional connection. Some older women may even have a difficult temperament, possibly due to past emotional setbacks or difficulty finding an ideal partner. Most men, on the other hand, seek a wife with a gentle temperament, capable of taking care of the home and family, and older women usually lack this advantage. Well, that's it for today. What do you think about this topic? Leave your opinion in the comments. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. See you in the next video.